that. Again, he can't take an opportunity to just show gratitude to them. Brett, what do you think?
Like, way to make it about you, buddy. That's insane. He's talking about people who put themselves willfully in the line of fire, and he is equating himself giving a speech and some dude shooting at him to that. Like, I'm not saying it was awesome, but you didn't sign up for anything, buddy. Like, you didn't do that. You were not in the armed forces. You did not do that. You had bone spurs. It is that instinct. It's that moment that, like, I hope gives enough of his supporters the ick. Where, oh my God, he just called them losers and suckers. He can't understand why. Oh, he's saying that he deserves a Purple Heart. Oh, he was making fun of Gold Star families when he himself had Dr. Bone Spurs get him off of, like, doing essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
Over time, that plus Epstein hopefully equals people going like, oh, I can't find him engaging anymore. It's just like, oh, hopefully that happens before he runs for a third term.
Yeah, 100%. No, it's just, again, this is not going to get through to any of them. It's not going to get through to any of the Republican men that have sworn up and down for decades, I care about our armed forces, support the troops, support the troops. Oh no, I love Donald Trump, a guy who has done, like, there have been faux pas or slip ups that politicians have made that make them seem out of touch with regard to military service or whatever. If you added up all of them, it's not 1/10 of what Donald Trump has done, and yet they don't see it. They don't care. All these people who are like, John Kerry, did he really earn it when he was serving on those Swift boats? Every one of those guys loves Donald Trump and thinks that he cares about America and has earned all this. It's absolutely absurd. In any event, we only have another minute or two. I'm gonna read a comment. Level 18 white girl had said, didn't Cecily Strong give John the nickname DJ Lunchbox? No, that was Leslie Jones that gave me that nickname, who, but by the way, small world, has been at both of the Sparks games that I went to. She's been sitting courtside. I was not courtside, so I was not able to say hi. And if I had, she would definitely not remember who I am. But anyway, it wasn't Cecily Strong. I would die if it had been. Cecily Strong is probably my favorite person, or at least top 5 in SNL history. But Leslie Jones is also awesome. But let's see, let's get to some other comments. Dragon Swan, 53 months subscribed over on Twitch. Thank you. Doodle of Daisies just became a subscriber. Thank you so much. The Artsy Fartsy Dragon, 45 months, is happy to actually be here live. Good to have you live. Vengeful, 60 months, and says just release the file and it'll all go away. Again, why is that not the thing? Like, if there's nothing bad in there, and it keeps going on and on and on, why not just release the file? Every day that they delay makes it seem more and more suspicious.
I think
and Asimov's crossed 44 months. Wait, sorry, what did you say?
You answer your own question. It's bad.
That's how the show works.
Real bad.
I just answer my own questions. Anyway, everybody, we're gonna go do our members content. We're gonna be talking about the Texas millionaire who died on a trophy hunt, attempting to kill a Cape buffalo. So we'll be giving our thoughts about that. Coming up in just a little bit. Look for that if you're a member. I'm gonna be leading the first hour of the Young Turks later on with Jake Uger and Mark Thompson, which is always a lot of fun. Love to break down the news with Mark. Glad to see him back on the panel. For now, stay safe out there, stay sane out there. We'll see you soon.
Welcome. It's indisputable. I'm your host, Rashad Richey. Good to be with you. We have a lot on the agenda today, breaking down news of the day with me, none other than my brother from another mother. We have David Shuster back in the building. All right. Top story of the day. A white mob decides to hunt a black couple. Put it up full mass. When you see this, it will make your blood boil. There are details that will disturb you even more. A black couple was hunted by armed racists before crashing violently. July 20th, Amelia Majors and her wife, Jamaria Gaskins, were driving in a rural area when they struck debris in the road and needed to pull over. It ended with a racially charged attack that left one of the women hospitalized with life-threatening injuries, and you see it there. Before they could even get out of their car, a man emerged from a nearby home, gave them a thumbs up gesture. They assumed he was coming to help. Instead, Major said he and two other white individuals, one of them a woman, began shouting racial slurs and threats. Quote, they called us N-words, told us we didn't belong there. And one of them even exposed himself while screaming hate and slurs at us. Majors wrote on a GoFundMe page launched by Gaskins. So go ahead and put them up. We're going to keep their pictures up for a minute. The incident was insane, has led to misdemeanor charges against two local residents, Elizabeth Wolfrey, 32, and then Mr. Mark Goodman, 59. Keep that picture up. Misdemeanor charges for two individuals. Imagine being so hate-filled that the sight of melanated skin triggers you. Imagine living in that kind of hell because you are in the United States of America. You will run into melanated people on a regular basis. But cowards like this typically will only exercise that kind of aggression when they feel protected. And the fact that they only have misdemeanor charges informs me that they are. Wolfrey is charged with pointing and brandishing a firearm. There's a federal statute for this as well. There's a misdemeanor statute in federal. And Goodman faces a charge of indecent exposure. That's according to the Fredericksburg Free Press. So citing the Spotsylvania County Sheriff's Office, a third person seen in the video, has not yet been charged with anything. Quote, as we tried to leave, all three of them jumped into vehicles and chased us down the road, she wrote. Quote, one of them rode up beside us in a four-wheeler and aimed a gun directly at my head through the driver's window. That is not menacing. What's menacing? Menacing is pulling your gun out and saying you're going to shoot someone and scaring people because you're waving it around. That's menacing. That's menacing. You aim that gun at the head of an individual, you have crossed the line from menacing to a few other dynamics that could also include, well, attempted assault and more. None of that is even considered. Now, the moments later, the person Majors lost control of the car. So now you're getting into absolute felony territory. Okay. So now these individuals are being chased. That chase, well, that's probably chargeable significantly by itself with no injury at all. But there's a loss of control of the vehicle and the car crashed. She was ejected from the vehicle. She was ejected from the vehicle. Quote, I woke up in the hospital. That means that she was unconscious. I woke up in the hospital with a fractured spine, broken collarbone, broke rib, severe concussion, multiple head injuries that required a staple. She wrote, quote, I am beyond grateful to be alive. Gaskins reportedly sustained minor injuries, but both women say they were assaulted, traumatized, and left permanently changed. This was not an accident. This was an attempted act of violence meant to harm and silence us, Majors added. Quote, we survived something that should have ended us. And now we're speaking out. Not just for ourselves, but for everyone who's ever been targeted and forced to stay quiet. Jordan, put up the pictures of the individuals charged with misdemeanors again. They are charged with misdemeanors and they damn near committed vehicular homicide. Now, naturally, someone can argue that they did not mean for this to happen. They were just horseplaying, messing around. They had no intent for this woman to end up in this condition. But see, the intent doesn't matter when the aggression that is applied could have, and you should have known it could have, led to serious injury or death. Just like when you drink and drive. You may not have meant to get into an accident because you were intoxicated, but you either knew or should have known that driving intoxicated can seriously injure or kill somebody. And that is the standard of the law. That is the standard of the law. So if you chase someone and you're yelling racial slurs at them and also telling them they don't belong here and pointing a gun at their face, I think that qualifies as you either knew or should have known that possible injury or even death could have taken place, but you're charged with misdemeanor. The county NAACP, they are now involved. And the sheriff's office says additional charges, including hate crime charges, are under review. Under review. Sheriff's Major David Myrick confirmed that a detective has been assigned to the case and is working closely with Commonwealth Attorney Ryan Mihafe to determine next steps. Wolfie was arraigned on Thursday, due back in court, General District Court, November 20th. Goodman's arraignment is scheduled for Monday, with the court appearance set for November 20th. Let me tell you why the fix is in. I'm going to tell you why the fix is in. It's not because they weren't charged up front with the felonies they could have easily been charged with. It's not because the sheriff says, well, that's under review. Two things. One, there's a detective assigned after the charges. There's a detective assigned after arraignment. Why is a detective assigned after arraignment? You think the detective is looking for charges against them or ways to exonerate them? Also, you have the same basic law in that state as you do anywhere else. If you are with them committing the same felony act, all of you are charged with the same thing. They decided to parse the charges. One is charged with indecent exposure, nothing else. That's going to get dropped on face value. The fix is in. The delay in the public release of information about the attack sparked criticism online, especially after the sheriff's office posted about the incident 11 days after it occurred. This is a rural area. Stuff like this is not normative. Their police force does not have some insane bureaucracy, but 11 days because they were forced to. Myrick defended the timing, citing safety concerns while Majors was still hospitalized. No, we did it for the little lady. We did it for her. Quote, I didn't want to release it because the moment I release it, the families or the suspects themselves know exactly where the victim is. He said, once we saw the video, we knew they were out. That's why we started releasing the information. That is so good of you to look out for this woman in such a way. But if those individuals pose that kind of threat to people inside of your community under your authority as law enforcement, why did you charge them with misdemeanors and nothing else? If they're that dangerous, sir, that your entire police protocol had to change in order to protect individuals who are in the hospital because you assumed that if you put that information out, the individuals who did this to them may do what, Sheriff? Kill them? Yeah, that's what you're implying. But you charge them with misdemeanors. Meanwhile, Majors and Gaskins have launched a crowdfunding campaign. We want to help to raise $125,000 medical bill, all right? They got legal fees, trauma therapy, cost of replacing their totaled vehicle. As of this week, they had $830. We will include a link to the GoFundMe in the description. I ask that you do the very best you can. All right, David, thoughts here.
Well, the depravity of our fellow human beings is so astounding sometimes. I was reminded a couple of weeks ago in a story we were doing that we had an expert who came on who talked about people who are racist, bigoted, xenophobic, anti-Semitic, and he pointed out that in any population, anywhere, you're going to look at 1 to 2% of that population is predisposed to being hateful, violent, racist, psychopathic, whatever you want to call it. And the role of society, the role of government is to try to contain them, to try to make sure that the incentives are clear so that 1 to 2% doesn't go out in public or on the street or whatever it is and inflict violence. And that's why we have things like felony charges. In my state, in Connecticut, if you pull a gun out of the holster, you don't even have to point it at somebody, but pull it out of a holster while you're yelling at somebody. That is threatening. That is menacing. That is a class 1 felony. It's not a misdemeanor. In this case, they're holding the weapon and they're pointing at this person's head, and that's a misdemeanor. That doesn't make any sense. It's ridiculous. And as somebody who spent a lot of time in Virginia, and I've got a lot of friends who were there, and even some who have lived in the Fredericksburg area, this is beyond embarrassing and humiliating. This is the absolute worst. And thank God this couple is willing to talk about it. And they're showing such incredible courage after what they've been through to make sure that everybody hears about this, because we all need to hear about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. We will continue to follow this situation, bring you updates as they occur. Dear brother, you're so right about the felony menacing statute. The sheriff chose to use the lesser misdemeanor version of that, which doesn't apply. All right. Hell of a thing. Immigration raid involving rental trucks has now sparked, well, outrage from LA officials. Here it is. Okay. Put it up full mass. Penske rental truck ice raid. This is Trump's war against the worst in America, according to him. Los Angeles officials said they are considering, quote, all legal options. Doesn't sound strategic at all. You guys have to be concerned about prioritization of resources, sir. All legal options after federal agents were seen jumping out of a Penske rental truck during a controversial immigration raid. More than a dozen undocumented immigrants were arrested near a Home Depot in Westlake on Wednesday, federal officials said, in what was dubbed, quote, Operation Trojan Horse, end quote. The operation came days after a federal appeals court upheld a temporary restraining order against indiscriminate federal immigration stops and arrests in 7 Southern California counties, including Los Angeles. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass said the city is, quote, considering all legal options following the raid. She claimed it, quote, looks like the exact same thing that we were seeing before the temporary restraining order was issued. Quote, it's hard for me to believe that that raid was consistent with the court order that said you cannot racially profile. You cannot racially discriminate. The mayor said during a press conference on Wednesday, Madam Mayor, you are correct. As I've said before, Donald Trump is looking for a showdown with the courts. He's had his showdown with everyone else. He's had scrimmages with the court. He's looking for the showdown. So yes, they are in violation of that judicial order. There's more. The restraining order, the temporary one, was issued in July as part of a class action lawsuit seeking to end what it alleged were unlawful immigration stops and arrests. A federal appeals court upheld the order August 1st in what the mayor called, quote, a victory for the city of Los Angeles. A DHS spokesperson said Border Patrol agents conducted a, quote, targeted raid at the Home Depot. The operation, dubbed Trojan Horse, resulted in the arrest of 16 illegal undocumented individuals. They call them illegal aliens. No human being is illegal. From Guatemala, Mexico, Honduras, and, well, Nicaragua. The spokesperson said U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers arrested 2 women in Los Angeles who were heard saying they're U.S. citizens during the arrest. They locked up 2 whole women. I mean, hard day at the office. Another arrest made headlines this week as ICE was seen detaining a man on his way to his flight to self-deport. Here it is.
Here's the warrant.
Can I see it?
There you go.
Make it hard when we're asking you get out.
He literally talked to
You're gonna make it hard on yourself. We told you, we called. But how is it difficult?
Okay, we're here for him.
Rivera,
Please come out.
why are you covering your face? I know who you are. You were his ICE officer. I know who you are. We have his plane ticket. He's trying to self-deport. We're trying to go check in. And
I am. Hold on.
stop. Can you stop?
Hold on.
Stop.
Come out.
Stop.
I am gonna
Can
come
you
out.
stop?
Let me say goodbye to my family. Go ahead. Let me say goodbye.
Ow. You're hurting me. I'm trying to say bye to my husband. Do not push me. I will take him out. I will take him out.
Do not
Relax.
intervene with our arrest.
Relax.
Do not intervene.
I am pregnant. Do not touch
Okay,
me.
so let's keep your distance then.
I will take him out. It's okay.
Do not
I will take him
intervene.
out.
They wear the mask because they understand their aversion to humanity. Police officers in your community, my community, they don't wear masks. Typically, no one at the sheriff's department will have on a mask, but they do, all of them. Now, the irony of self-deporting. Trump created a program, an app you download on your phone. I don't want that damn app on my phone. It's interesting. Anybody would want that app. But there are people who trusted this guy, downloaded the app, engaged the protocol, and decided to self-deport. This individual gets harassed, family gets harassed, and they have been communicating within the doctrine of self-deportation protocol the entire time. So a judge has blocked further construction of Alligator Alcatraz. It's just a detention center. Just amazing. We've been talking about this. So a federal judge on Thursday halted any further construction of the immigration detention center known as Alligator Alcatraz. Who the hell came up with that name? U.S. District Judge Caitlin Mary Williams granted a restraining order after 2 days of testimony about the environmental impact of the site. The state of Florida and Donald Trump, his administration, can continue to use the facility and house detainees there, but any further construction must be halted for 14 days. Let's go to Pennsylvania. An ICE detainee, was found hanging by his neck in a detention center. An immigration and customs enforcement detainee died by unaliving himself while in custody after he was found hanging by his neck in the shower room at the facility where he was being held, that's according to officials. Kaifeng Ji, a 32-year-old citizen of China, was in ICE custody, pronounced dead by the Clearfield County coroner. That was about 6 a.m. Tuesday. He was found hanging by the neck, unresponsive in the shower room of his detention pod. ICE said his death was determined to be, in fact, him unaliving himself after investigators discovered a handwritten note and no foul play was found, according to Pennsylvania State Police. Staff who discovered him immediately lowered him to the ground, began CPR, and contacted ER and medical services, state police, and the coroner's office. He had been in ICE custody for only 5 days. He was from Flushing, Queens, pleaded guilty to accessing a device issued to another who did not authorize use and conspiracy to commit the same on July 31st. That's according to ICE. He was sentenced to 6 to 12 months for each count and granted immediate release to ICE, to the ICE detainer. He was then taken into ICE custody and transported to the York ICE office for processing. That's kind of your rundown. There's a whole lot more. Unfortunately, we only have an hour and a half on the program. Dear brother, thoughts?
You know, I just don't see what is possibly gained in a civilized society to be taking families, couples, people with kids, and to be throwing them out of the country, whether they're here legal or not. I'm glad that Penske, in that example, Penske condemned the use of their truck. What's so interesting is it is actually against California state law to have human beings in the back of a truck like that. And yet the police with ICE, they seem to think that they can trample on the law because they're what? They're going to be targeting people who somehow broke the law coming into this country. Well, maybe we should be then deporting the ICE agents because they have broken the law. They've both broken the traffic laws in California. And I'm glad that Penske is condemning this. And then again, the amount of money that taxpayers are shelling out for this nonsense is crazy. And here we see an example with the person who's self-deporting, the amount of money that's being spent. They were already on their way to the airport. They were already essentially making it easier on the Trump administration. It was going to be efficient for them to leave. And now because ICE grabs them and takes them to who know where and some sort of detention facility, the costs keep going up and up. This is insane. It is crazy. And it is totally un-American.
And it has nothing to do with the promises of Donald Trump. No economy dynamic. You don't have a better outlook on life. And there's no make America great again. It's make Trump halfway great. All right. Hell of a thing. Michigan cops decided to mace black folk because they were waiting for food. Here it is. Put it up. Michigan cops mace a black crowd waiting on orders at a food truck. The viral video that's raising alarms online shows a group of police officers in Flint, Michigan, indiscriminately macing a group of black people who were simply gathered by a food truck waiting on their food. That's according to the Detroit Metro Times. The incident took place at 2 a.m. August 3rd at the Family Recipes X All the Smoke food truck stop. It's extreme. This kind of insane violence is extreme. The violence is the mentality. The subhuman treatment comes from the rhetoric. All right. David, thoughts?
I mean, the role of police is to protect and to serve. And I hope that in Flint, Michigan, across the state of Michigan, they can publicly identify this police officer and get him off the force because clearly he does not belong. If your reaction to some kind of hubbub is to immediately to escalate, to go with violence, to spray people as if they are insects, you don't belong in the police force. Your job there is to investigate, to try to calm people down, say, hey, what's the problem here? Why are people yelling? Are people getting stirred up? What's happening here? And you de-escalate the situation. But if your response is to immediately show contempt for the people you're supposed to serve and to spray some sort of chemical at them as if they're a less than human, you should not be a police officer. And thank God people are filming this sort of stuff so we can have some kind of at least public accountability.
Well said. All right, we got more on the other side. Indisputable. Stick and stay. Indisputable exclusive. Exclusive, disputable, exclusive. We brought you this first. No other news agency has this video. No other news agency has this story.
Every week on Indisputable, we do original, exclusive, investigative reporting you'll find nowhere else.
Our reports have been viewed by millions. Hosted by Sean King, Ben Crump, Senator John Ossoff.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
We catching these cases on camera. Just imagine the things that we don't see.
Our groundbreaking investigations and exclusive interviews bring you the real voices no one else wants you to hear. We tell the stories.
Imagine a prison that is so racist, the corrections officers contact me. That is a life or death situation being created. A black woman who was driving for Uber was allegedly assaulted by a white male passenger. After we got involved, roughly 24 hours later, the police all of a sudden opened up an investigation. What was going through your mind when bullets were simply flying inside of your vehicle?
Honestly, I thought I was going to die.
Did these officers ever say that you fit the description of somebody they were looking for? Did they say that?
Never.
Okay, that means they lied.
And we want you to be part of our truth-telling movement. Send pictures and video of stories no one else is telling and a 1 or 2 paragraph summary of the story to Indisputable's exclusive tip line at indvideos@tyt.com.
If you have more information about what's happening at this particular facility, please let me know.
Together, we're challenging the system, and together, we're making a difference.
I have the entire background to this story, and it is going to make your blood boil.
Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, unveiling the truth, empowering the people. Weekdays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific.
Welcome back. Always good to be with you. I have a lot of comments. Greatly appreciate everyone for joining the conversation. And all right. Interesting. So I think it's Delaquan 7, aka Embarrassed Vet Dragon. They're only a threat to public safety of black folk. Apparently, it's no big deal for them. That part. That's right. Yeah. Melissa Snyder, absolutely a hate crime, felony offense, and they're toying with it. We're looking at, possible hate crime charges, possible. And then the self-deportation story. So I think this is Gimli. Self-deportation doesn't bring enough money to the trough. No way that immigrant gets out of a taxpayer-funded detention before 6 more weeks, further harming the family and further harming the U.S. economy. Donald James X, Says, I mean, this is beyond any kind of satire. South Park can come up with this is real life. That's right. Kimmy Coop, hello everyone. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you as well. And right, Mike Nice. First off, Karen Friday, basically. And one more. Neon Death 07, that DA should update the charges. Yeah. All right, that's something for you, ladies and gentlemen. I wish Karen would.
You want to call the police on him for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
You're still free! Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Hey, turn the camera off. See what happens.
You're in trouble.
Stupid.
Can you call 911? You approach like that.
Hey, who you recording? No, I won't say.
You're whole time.
Hey, you know what's
you're in recording.
Hey, you know
whole
what's
time.
Hey, shut up, big nose. You know what's not illegal to go in front of your vehicle and hump you? I didn't touch you, did I? Did I touch you? Yes or no?
You banged my car.
No, I didn't touch you.
It's broken.
No.
I got your license
Did
plate.
I touch you? Did I
got
touch
your
you?
license plate.
Hey, big nose. Did I touch you? Did I touch you? Yes or no? Answer my question. You. Did I answer you?
Live.
I don't care from recording.
Live.
You got a free phone, you immigrant. You stupid. Hey, did I record you?
Put it up for a mask. Sir, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, I believe somebody believes in you. It is time for them to do an intervention. You go from being a jerk, which I assume you typically are. Nothing new there. Then you go into racism after you talk about the guy's physical appearance. You're acting like you're 10. This cannot be attractive to anyone, nor can it be the behavior of a responsible human being. Sir, you are the worst amongst us. You are. Not anyone else. It's you. That's the reason why Trump said it. It's called projecting. Trump knows he's one of the worst, so he projects it this way. Not this way. All right. David, thoughts?
A lot of self-loathing going on in that guy in the truck. And to me, it became evident when he walked out of the truck. And I've never seen somebody walk out of a big truck like that wearing, I don't know, pink shorts or whatever that was. I mean, look, this guy's clearly conflicted about himself, maybe perhaps his own sexuality. And so he's carrying around a lot of anger and it gets uncorked. So everybody beware. There are a lot of folks like that are out there, unfortunately.
Yeah. All right. Here we go again. American Airlines reps only allow stroller for white customers. That's the allegation. Here it is.
So this morning at 5 a.m., two exhausted parents traveling with two sleeping babies, we've flown countless times. We were told by American Airlines staff that our stroller, the same stroller we've gate checked without issue on Southwest and United, had to be dropped off at baggage. No empathy, no compromise, just refusal. But what broke us wasn't just the grilling walk through TSA with heavy children in our arms. It was watching as white families in the same line were allowed to keep their strollers. Same setup, same flight process, different treatment. We were told our stroller was different. The only difference is the color of our skin. We pleaded, we explained, we even showed prior gate check tags. But these three white women at the counter didn't flinch. They looked us in the eye as our babies slept soundly, and still they said no. To every parent of color, to every mother, to every father, this is a warning. American Airlines didn't just inconvenience us, they humiliated us. They reminded us that in their eyes, our struggle, our fatigue, our humanity didn't matter.
Put it up for a mask. It is so unfortunate. It is so damn unfortunate that a black mother has to go through something like this. But my goodness, was she not prepared to provide a narrative? According to Atlanta Black Star, American Airlines is under fire for allegedly discriminating again after Black parents were not allowed to check a stroller at the gate, while white parents on the same flight were allowed to do so. But this wasn't just any stroller. It was a mobility aid for the couple's 4-year-old daughter who was in need of such aid due to a disability that prevented her from walking unassisted in the public. She has been plagued with panic attacks since the incident. So that's illegal, obviously, to deny someone their capacity to be mobile. The mother claimed that there were 3 white American airline employees who scoffed at her predicament and refused to even read the medical paperwork. You don't have to produce it by law, madam. They can't make you produce it by law. Who's training these people? All right. So instead, the mother said they instructed her to check the stroller in as baggage, asking, quote, "Can't you carry your own child?" What? Yeah. Can't you carry your own child? End quote. Atlanta Black Star reached out to American Airlines for comment, but nothing by press time. The incident happened on July 12th. And the mother's video details in significant sequence. She did a remarkable job giving us the details to the story, including a close-up of previous gate check tags on the stroller in question. Her follow-up video on July 18th highlighted the Air Carrier Access Act. That's a federal law that protects people with disabilities while they travel. Quote, "The law is on our side," she stated. Indeed, strollers can be considered protected mobility devices for children with disabilities, and they must be allowed as carry-ons at no extra cost. That is the law. Airlines must allow assistive devices as carry-ons in the cabin free of charge, consistent with safety rules, reads the Airline Passengers with Disabilities Bill of Rights from the U.S. Department of Transportation, which also states that assistive devices must not be counted against the passenger's carry-on limit. And who advocated for those laws? The same individuals who utilized them. They worked, lobbied. They did not have powerful, rich, Fortune 500 companies supporting them. They did it the old-fashioned way. They had to fight for it, unfortunately. But they won. They never should have had to fight. And now they have to fight again. Here's why. 1, you have basically untrained, maybe, or just inhumane individuals working there. 2, who's going to enforce the federal law? That's the part. Who's going to enforce this? You have a significant lack of manpower for that same authority to even look at a case like this from the federal government. All right, there's more. So over the past 2 years, we've seen a whole lot of this. We've covered it, multiple incidents involving Black passengers and American Airlines in particular. Now, I told you, American Airlines, that if it continued to happen, we'll talk about a pattern. Now you have a pattern. From rapper Juvenile being downgraded from his first-class seat without his permission, to a woman being kicked off a flight because a white passenger felt threatened, but there was no threat. And then we had a retired judge on the show. She was falsely accused of assault. They called the police on her. Police comes to arrest her when they land and says there's no crime here. To 3 black men being kicked off a flight due to alleged body odor. There's more. To a black man falsely accused of trafficking his own wife by airline staff. I got more. To airline staff losing a passenger's $27,000 prosthetic leg and only offered him $600 for his trouble. And finally, a black flight attendant fired after defending himself from a passenger who attacked him. And we played the video. It was easy. Once again, he was fired. So let's go ahead and put him up for a mask. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing to you American Airlines CEO, Robert Isom. Hello, Robert. We are going to get well acquainted this year, sir. All right. David, thoughts here?
I don't know whether American Airlines is a racist airlines or not, but they certainly do have racist employees, and they have a pattern of enabling those employees and doing nothing. So at this point, American Airlines has to choose. Either you're going to choose to allow the hatred and the bigotry to infect your airline, and you're going to lose a lot of consumers, a lot of flyers in the process, or you're going to take a stand for basic decency and humanity and say, this will not be tolerated in American Airlines. We're going to put a stop to this. We obviously must know who those people were working in Atlanta who denied the woman with the stroller. You know who these employees are. This has been brought to your attention. Do something about it. No more excuses. No more, oh, we're not going to respond. Either you respond and you prove that you're not a racist company, or you ignore it and all of us come to a very clear conclusion. But American, you have to choose.
That's right. Well said. And here's the reality of that. We know a minority of individuals will exhibit this kind of behavior. You talked about it earlier. That's everywhere. That's societal construct. That's within a company. But if the company decides to not do anything about the 1 to 2% of individuals doing the most, well, they have also told you what their culture is. And that becomes the judgment or the conclusion that takes place. Police officers try to nuance this argument a lot. Well, most police officers are good. How? If most cops are good, that means the culture would be good, which also means the individuals who are corrupt, that's the last place they would be able to work. All right, we got more on the other side. Indisputable. Stick and stack. Indisputable, exclusive, disputable, exclusive. We brought you this first. No other news agency has this video. No other news agency has this story.
Every week on Indisputable, we do original, exclusive, investigative reporting you'll find nowhere else.
Our reports have been viewed by millions. Hosted by Sean King, Ben Crump, Senator John Ossoff.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
We catching these cases on camera. Just imagine the things that we don't see.
Our groundbreaking investigations and exclusive interviews bring you the real voices no one else wants you to hear. We tell the stories.
Imagine a prison that is so racist, the corrections officers contact me. That is a life or death situation being created. A black woman who was driving for Uber was allegedly assaulted by a white male passenger. After we got involved, roughly 24 hours later, the police all of a sudden opened up an investigation. What was going through your mind when bullets were simply flying inside of your vehicle?
Honestly, I thought I was going to die.
Did these officers ever say that you fit the description of somebody they were looking for? Did they say that?
Never.
Okay, that means they lying.
And we want you to be part of our truth-telling movement. Send pictures and video of stories no one else is telling and a 1 or 2 paragraph summary of the story to Indisputable's exclusive tip line at indvideos@tyt.com.
If you have more information about what's happening at this particular facility, please let me know.
Together, we're challenging the system, and together, we're making a difference.
I have the entire background to this story, and it is going to make your blood boil.
Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, unveiling the truth, empowering the people. Weekdays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific.
All right, welcome back. Always good to be with you. We'll read a few comments. Greatly appreciate everyone. Went to Scoop. Man was literally trying to self-report. He had the plane ticket, and they arrest him anyway. They have their quota. Yeah, and it also hurts the credibility, if I can utilize that word in this administration, of the program, because the whole damn thing is built on trust or alleged trust. All right. Wall Street Journal writer calls for the government to intervene on behalf of Caitlin Clark. Here it is.
There's a lot of jealousy and animosity, and that can be understood, right? If you've been a VP of the league in the past, yet you were unable to achieve the visibility and perhaps the endorsements that Caitlin Clark has received right out of the gate, it shows that it's normal to assume that there would be some degree of resentment. However, the concern is that resentment is then leading to targeting on the court. It's happening at a higher rate for Caitlin Clark than anyone else. And unfortunately, it's creating a textbook hostile work environment for Caitlin Clark. And under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, the federal government does have an ability to engage here, should they so choose. And so she's facing a hostile work environment. Unfortunately, it appears that it does impact a protected class, her race, as evidenced by quotes by players in the league. And there is a federal element here to where the government can intervene.
Bill, how much did he pay you to come do that commercial on your program? I thought he was playing. I thought it was a setup to a joke. But when I saw you at your half stance, Bill, I knew this was real. Put up the picture full mass. That is your Karen of the year. Literally making a federal case out of a file. A file. A game. Part of the game. Sean McLean, lobbyist. He's a lobbyist. And former staffer for Ted Cruz. And Marsha Blackburn wrote an opinion for the Journal entitled, quote, "The WNBA and Caitlin Clark Civil Rights," end quote. In the column, he argues that the WNBA, quote, "has fostered a hostile workplace," end quote. For Clark, because she gets fouled a lot by Black players who target her out of racial animus. He will go on to cite Supreme Court cases and called for a full congressional investigation into the WNBA. Stephen A. Smith weighed in on this. Here it is.
If the WNBA continues to allow this treatment of Caitlin Clark, you really think they're going to be silent? Now, before you go any further, I'm not here saying that the case will be won by the government if it got to that point or anything like that. I'm saying they have a case. They have an argument. And do we doubt that at his discretion, at his disposal, if he finds this to be an issue that's politically expedient for him, that Trump won't use this to feed his base?
You scared, Stephen A? That sounds like a yes, a boss commentary to me. What you afraid of, dear brother? You're the in-your-face guy. Tell it like it is. Now you're concerned about the reaction of one man, even though you know the proclamation of this lobbyist is utterly ridiculous. You're not saying they can actually win. You're just saying we's gonna get in trouble. But at least we have somebody who's holding down the culture. By that, I mean holding it up. Yes, we've reached this stage of the Caitlin Clark ridiculousness, where the Wall Street Journal ran a column from a former Trump advisor who believes the federal government should step in to do what? To prevent Caitlin Clark from being harassed at work. You see, put our dear sister back up for me. Jamil Hill. And thank you. Thank you for setting the record straight on this, for the article on Blast. And by, quote, harassed, she said, they mean defense. Defense. A new wave in this country is elevating white grievances so that white folks truly believe they are the real victims of racism. I do not blame Caitlin Clark for this. She just wants the ball. I blame the people who are clutching their pearls at competition and can't stop their sexist mindset of how women are supposed to compete. They are purposely making Black women out to be the villains in Caitlin Clark's story. That's why all of these pundits keep running with the narrative that these women need to be grateful. They're using Cece to get off all these takes of how they really feel about Black women. They want Black women to be humbled and to be reminded of their place. As soon as someone says, quote, they need to be thanking her, end quote, I can hear your dog whistle loud and clear. Caitlin Clark is a phenomenal player who does not need y'all laying down these white supremacist capes for her to exist. Here's an example of the villainization of Black women.
It's not just race, though. It's also sexuality. Caitlin Clark is a white heterosexual woman in a Black lesbian league, and they resent and are jealous of all of the attention and the shoe deal that she got.
What does Caitlin Clark do? Like this woman who's a superstar. She's the Michael Jordan of the WNBA. The players of the WNBA can't stand her. Why? Mm-hmm. Because she's white. It's abject, absolute racism. It's total racism. All really we want to hear from anybody about this is thank you. Thank you to Caitlin Clark for making our league relevant and so on. But instead, she's been bullied repeatedly by the players in this league. She's been assaulted physically. It's true that most of these Black women have been bullying her and want her to understand it's their league. Hello, you don't own the league. Blacks don't own the league.
Blacks don't own the league? Can we put up the young lady Caitlin again? And, you know, dear sister, you are a remarkable player and probably you don't want any of this smoke. They come at you because you're good. That's how it works. It's basketball. You got to say something to these clowns because contrary to what Megyn Kelly may say, ma'am, you are in the Black league. And these are white supremacists and bigots. And Megyn Kelly believes that Santa Claus and Jesus are black, or white men and not black. So you got to say something. All right, David, thoughts?
I hope she does say something, because from what I've heard about this, Caitlin Clark, yeah, she understands and she welcomes the fact that she is maybe fouled more than other people, because to her, that's a badge of honor. It shows that she's doing something. She's good, and they're targeting her, and she's like, bring it on. And I think she's the last person that wants anybody saying, hey, no, they need to back off, or this is racism. No, she wants people to say, if they're coming after me, it's because I'm good. It's because I'm the most talented player, and I'm proud of that. And I say, bring it on even more. So yeah, I hope she does say something. And that clown who was the Ted Cruz former staffer who worked for Donald Trump, who's a lobbyist, I think he's proof of what happens when some people just have too much time on their hands and they're just trying to stir up trouble. And yeah, I suppose it's possible Donald Trump could create a court case out of anything. That doesn't mean that it's right. That doesn't mean that it's constitutional. That doesn't mean that it's in anybody's interest. But Donald Trump's, come on, Stephen Smith, you can do better than that.
Yeah, that was a lazy commentary in my opinion. And dear brother, once again, I welcome you to the bullpen anytime. All right, we got more on the other side, Indisputable Stick and Stay.
Indisputable exclusive, disputable exclusive. We brought you this first. No other news agency has this video. No other news agency has this story.
Every week on Indisputable, we do original, exclusive, investigative reporting you'll find nowhere else.
Our reports have been viewed by millions. Hosted by Sean King, Ben Crump, Senator John Ossoff.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
We catching these cases on camera. Just imagine the things that we don't see.
Our groundbreaking investigations and exclusive interviews bring you the real voices no one else wants you to hear. We tell the stories.
Imagine a prison that is so racist, the corrections officers contact me. That is a life or death situation being created. A black woman who was driving for Uber was allegedly assaulted by a white male passenger. After we got involved, roughly 24 hours later, the police all of a sudden opened up an investigation. What was going through your mind when bullets were simply flying inside of your vehicle?
Honestly, I thought I was going to die.
Did these officers ever say that you fit the description of somebody they were looking for? Did they say that?
Never.
Okay, that means they lied.
And we want you to be part of our truth-telling movement. Send pictures and video of stories no one else is telling and a 1 or 2 paragraph summary of the story to Indisputable's exclusive tip line at indvideos@tyt.com.
If you have more information about what's happening at this particular facility, please let me know.
Together, we're challenging the system, and together, we're making a difference.
I have the entire background to this story, and it is going to make your blood boil.
Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, unveiling the truth, empowering the people. Weekdays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific.
All right, welcome back. Okay, a lot of comments. I will read as many as I can. Thank you for joining the convo. Jimmy Lee, American Airlines Group will continue paying out millions of dollars of shareholder money to continue their backwards discriminatory practices. After all, it isn't their own money they're losing anyways. It's the shareholders' money the employees get to be discriminatory with. That's right. That's right. Profits go out the window when you have racist people in your company. RJL Network, I've lost my respect for Stephen Smith. I got to say this, man. Stephen A., he will do something ridiculous like what you just heard, and then he will almost redeem himself with something that sounds commonsensical. And then we're back in again until he lets us down once more. All right. So Trump wants to bring the military to the 2028 LA Olympic Games. Wants to appoint himself as Grand Poobah or something. Here it is.
Bam. No auto pen.
Put it in full mask. So Trump may be planning on bringing the military to the 2028 LA Olympic Games. He signed an executive order on the Olympics. The executive order signed by Trump on Tuesday names him chair of a White House task force on the 2028 Games in Los Angeles. Viewed by the president as a quote, premier opportunity to showcase American exceptionalism. That's according to a White House statement. Trump, the administration said, is taking every opportunity to showcase American greatness on the world stage. Oh man, I remember in college a book about Adolf Hitler, how he wanted to show this exceptional Aryan strength, athleticism. And he wanted the world to see. And where did he want the world to see it? Well, at the Olympic Games, nonetheless. The same Olympic Games where black men were allowed to compete that he had called racially inferior. And when they won due to their talent and effort, they held fist in the air, sent Hitler packing. The terminology is the same, ladies and gentlemen. It's the same. Every racist bigot knows the code. Trump said he would send the military back to Los Angeles if he so chose in order to protect the games. Quote, we'll do anything necessary to keep the Olympics safe, including using our National Guard or military. Okay, he said, quote, I will use the National Guard or the military. This is going to be so safe if we have to. End quote. Trump's executive order establishes a task force, and then it establishes him and J.D. Vance, the VP, to steer federal coordination for the games. The task force will work with federal, state, and local partners on security and transportation, according to the White House. Trump made himself the police. And he's a top police officer. He's a top cop. He made himself the person in charge of all security for the Olympic Games through an executive order and a task force. I want you to imagine Biden doing something like this, or Barack Obama doing something like this. There's more. Those roles have been fairly standard for the federal government in past U.S.-hosted Olympic Games, but Trump's news conference could present question about whether the president with a penchant for showmanship might assume an unusually active role planning the Olympics, set to take place in the twilight of his final term, hopefully. Now, this is typically symbolic, ceremonial, whatever task force you're on. You're not doing real work. You already got a job. It's an honor. But he put himself in charge of a task force, and immediately, through executive action, mandating everybody funnel through him or through the White House task force to coordinate the game security. There's more. The task force to be housed within the Department of Homeland Security will, quote, assist in the planning and implementation of visa processing and credentialing programs for foreign athletes, coaches, officials, and media personnel. Nothing can go wrong here. Nothing will go wrong with this plan, obviously. The executive order said city officials have expressed concern that the president's border policies could deter international visitors and complicate visa processing for Olympic teams. You have got to be kidding me. I'm sure they never thought about that. That's actually precisely why they're doing it. But military support at the Olympics, it is not unheard of. But following the military's deployment in Los Angeles, following immigration protest, the president's plan will be a disaster. All right. David, thoughts here?
I share your pessimism. And in fact, I mean, the Olympic Games, it's what, 3 years from now? I think we should all, and I'll be the first to say publicly that I think the Olympic Committee ought to move the games outside of the United States, take it out of Los Angeles, put it in Vancouver. It's in the same time zone. But I think it's dangerous now for athletes, for coaches, for fans, for media from other countries to be coming to the United States. As long as the Department of Homeland Security is involved at all, as long as people are going to have to go through customs and fork over whatever kind of money they're having to fork over now, this is a dangerous time for anybody who is not a white-skinned American citizen. And so my advice to everybody, and I know this is probably gonna, disappoint a lot of athletes out there who are looking forward to come to the United States. Do not come to the United States. You're putting your own safety, your own personal liberty at risk, all so that Donald Trump can somehow boost himself even more. It's not worth it.
Well said, great advice. We got more on the other side. Indisputable, stick and stay.
Indisputable, exclusive, disputable, exclusive. We brought you this first. No other news agency has this video. No other news agency has this story.
Every week on Indisputable, we do original, exclusive, investigative reporting you'll find nowhere else.
Our reports have been viewed by millions. Hosted by Sean King, Ben Crump, Senator John Ossoff.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
We catching these cases on camera. Just imagine the things that we don't see.
Our groundbreaking investigations and exclusive interviews bring you the real voices no one else wants you to hear. We tell the stories.
Imagine a prison that is so racist, the corrections officers contact me. That is a life or death situation being created. A black woman who was driving for Uber was allegedly assaulted by a white male passenger. After we got involved, roughly 24 hours later, the police all of a sudden opened up an investigation. What was going through your mind when bullets were simply flying inside of your vehicle?
Honestly, I thought I was going to die.
Did these officers ever say that you fit the description of somebody they were looking for? Did they say that?
Never.
Okay, that means they lied.
And we want you to be part of our truth-telling movement. Send pictures and video of stories no one else is telling and a 1 or 2 paragraph summary of the story to Indisputable's exclusive tip line at indvideos@tyt.com.
If you have more information about what's happening at this particular facility, please let me know.
Together, we're challenging the system, and together, we're making a difference.
I have the entire background to this story, and it is going to make your blood boil.
Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, unveiling the truth, empowering the people. Weekdays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific.
welcome back. Always good to be with you. A lot of comments. Okay, Zarita Worthy, as a spectator of the WNBA, this is disgusting behavior. If Clark doesn't speak out against this behavior, then she's showing me who she really is. That's right. I agree 100%. There was a time when it was a rumble. Okay, you don't have to say anything. But it is a full avalanche now. Megyn Kelly said nothing about her skills. She's only being attacked because she's white. She's not the only white woman in the WNBA. All right, it's insane. Burning the Kiwi Dragon. Remember The Sound of Music, the scene of the music competition? Nazis standing guard everywhere at the theater? Good point. RJL Network. I've read that one. Respect for Stephen Smith. Winston Sayer. Jesse Owens. That's right. That's right. I should have had a trivia winner prize, but that's correct. Okay. Air Force. Military denies pension. Denies them. Okay? Now, put them up. Full mass. Why would they deny the pension of someone who has served? Who does that? Well, you see, they're trans. Okay? Trans members are being forced out. They have served the nation. They have put their lives on the line. Some have been injured. Decorated soldiers. The U.S. Air Force said Thursday it would deny all transgender service members who have served between 15 and 18 years the option to retire early and would instead separate them without retirement benefits. Now, I'm going to let you digest that for a moment, because there are many who will hear this story and you may have some kind of doctrinal or personal or religious belief that may not align with my own. But you know good and damn well, regardless of your, personal choice, anyone who works should be paid. Anyone who sacrifices should be honored. Put it back up. The move means that transgender service members will now be faced with the choice of either taking a lump sum separation payment offered to junior troops or simply be removed from service. Nothing. An Air Force spokesperson told the AP that, quote, although service members with 15 to 18 years of honorable service were permitted to apply for an exception to the policy, none of the exceptions to policy were approved, end quote. About a dozen service members had been prematurely notified that they would be able to retire before that decision was reversed. That's according to the spokesperson who spoke on condition of anonymity to discuss internal Air Force policy. A memo issued Monday announcing the new policy, which was reviewed by the AP, said that the choice to deny retirement benefits was made, quote, after careful consideration of the individual application, end quote. All transgender members of the Air Force are being separated from the service under the Trump administration's policies. The move comes after the Pentagon was given permission in early May by the Supreme Court to move forward with a ban on all transgender troops serving in the military. Days later, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, who did not honorably serve, announced a policy that would offer currently openly serving transgender troops the option to either volunteer to leave and take a large, as he calls a one-time separation payout, or be involuntarily separated. At a later date, Pentagon official told reporters in May that they viewed the policy as treating, quote, anyone impacted by it with dignity and respect. However, in late July, transgender troops told military.com that they were finding the entire separation process, which has included reverting their service records back to their birth gender, dehumanizing or open cruelty. Officials have said that as of December 9th, 2024, there were 4,240 troops diagnosed with what they call gender dysphoria on active duty. National Guard and Reserve Pentagon officials have decided to use the condition and its diagnosis as a main way to identify troops who are trans. However, the two are not an exact match. Not every transgender person has the condition. As a result, there is an understanding that the actual number of transgender people within the military is roughly 2 million troops, may be much higher. So under the latest policy, active duty troops have until June 6th to voluntarily identify themselves, receive a payout, while troops in the National Guard, July 7th, Pentagon officials told reporters that they planned to lean on commanders and existing annual medical screenings to find any transgender service members who do not come forward. This is all quite ridiculous, is it not? They're trans service members. That's why I didn't introduce the story that way. They are service members. They are members of the military. They have been there 15 to 18 years. Those bombs and bullets, they don't discriminate. You know how many transgenders have died? Lives have been altered. And I guarantee you, the connection that exists between humanity, between people, is much more sacred than these differences that are now being utilized in order to turn people's lives upside down. There is still no reason to do what you're doing. I'm not even a military guy. I believe war is a made-up framework for corporate America and their international allies. But damn it, these individuals are just trying to make ends meet. Shannon Leary, a lawyer who represents LGBTQ plus people in employment discrimination cases, says she expects lawsuits to challenge Thursday's decision. Quote, seems quite arbitrary on its face and cruel. She said, these military members have dedicated their lives to serving our country. Normally, Larry said, when early retirement is offered in the military, it's available to all members who have served over 15 years. She said she expects other service branches to follow the Air Force's path. Yeah, that's right. It was universally offered, except now to go after trans. And don't think that going after trans is going after transgender people. It's not. This is not what they're doing. It is a proxy. It's a power play. So if they can make you believe there's a such thing as a trans whatever soldier, if they can make you believe that, get you to start saying it and really believing it, now you have woke soldiers. They happen to all be black, though. But see, they're woke soldiers. Same thing. Well, we got to get rid of the woke soldiers if we got rid of the trans soldier, right? What is it in? The soldiers. What happened to that? This is what happens when a dishonorable man serves in a capacity of leadership he could not hope to grow into. Put him up. Logan Ireland, Master Sergeant in the U.S. Air Force, who has 15 years of honorable service. including a deployment to Afghanistan. Those bullets and bombs don't discriminate. They don't care if you're trans or not. Is one of the airmen impacted by the policy? Quote, I feel betrayed and devastated by the news. He said, Ireland said he was told that his retirement was going to be denied on Wednesday when his chain of command, quote, with tears in their eyes, told him the news. David, thoughts?
This is a hatred and bigotry, pure and simple, that the Trump administration is promoting and enabling and trying to get so many people to accept. And it is heartbreaking on so many levels, because whether you support the military or you don't, these are people who dedicated their lives, their careers to a cause greater than themselves. They sacrificed, they died, as he pointed out, they served in combat. The only thing that mattered is, could they fly the planes straight? Could they fix the planes? Could they maintain them? Could they guide them? That's all. That was their job. And that we've gotten to a point now in this country where, in our name as Americans, our military is discriminating and injecting hatred and bigotry and transphobia and everything in our name. It is horrifying. And you know what? Just one more thing to be mad about in terms of the Trump administration and how they have turned America into, everybody's been so concerned for so long. Oh, what are we going to do about the people who are going to cross the border? Well, now we have to worry about what have we become? What have we become?
Man, it's very sad. I got to go to a break. We'll be back. Stick and stay. Superman says he wants to be an ICE agent. Former Superman, ex-Superman Dean Cain says He's becoming an ICE agent now. Here it is.
What are you going to be doing at ICE?
Well, let me go back a minute here, Jesse. This is all your fault, by the way.
Yeah?
I'll explain why.
Why?
Because I put out a recruitment video yesterday. I'm actually a deputy sheriff, a sworn deputy sheriff, and a reserve police officer. I wasn't part of ICE. But once I put that out there and you put a little blurb on your show, it went crazy. So now I've spoken with some officials over at ICE, and I will be sworn in as an ICE agent ASAP. So they'll have 80,001 recruits for their 10,000 positions.
Well, they can't have a better guy than Dean Cain. Are you going to be hopping out of ICE fans and apprehending guys?
I will do whatever Director Lyons wants me to do. If that's what it takes, absolutely. I somehow doubt I'll be in that position, but I would be there in a heartbeat.
So he's a sworn deputy sheriff, not an ICE agent. He had a recruitment video. So do you know Herschel Walker? Because he's a sworn deputy sheriff as well. Had a fake badge on television and showed it. Now he's going to be an ICE agent. Brother, do you need a job, brother? It's okay if you just need to work, brother. You don't have to come at, listen, man, it happens. Put it up for a mask. The former Man of Steel, ex-Superman actor Dean Cain has announced he is planning to join the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, known as ICE. Cain played the role of Superman between 1993 and 1997. I am ashamed to say I watched it when I was a child. In the TV series, Lois and Clark. The New Adventures of Superman. In a statement, the Department of Homeland Security said Cain would be sworn in as an honorary ICE officer in the coming month. What in the hell is an honorary ICE officer? They're just making stuff up, man. They're giving these guys badges, swearing in ceremonies, okay? To the real ICE agents, you know, the guys who wear the mask. How do you feel about this? All right, so we have, put it back up. Now that I look at as an adult, sir, the way you're standing doesn't look very Superman-like to me. I'm just saying, sir, looks different than the other Superman. I may have been deceived. CNN Scott Jennings is thrilled by the news.
New ICE
in the
agents.
Superman community,
and so
I mean that's Dean.
But I'm just telling you, like
he's effectively going to be an honorary sheriff.
But having someone like that out touting it, talking about, hey, this is a thing you can do for your government. This is public service. It's going to help them recruit, and they have a bunch of people to recruit.
Yeah, it's not 95. Nobody gives a Sam Hill what Dean Cain does.
You may not, but in the conservative community,
Dean ain't worked in a while. Dean needs the 50,000. That's what got Dean off the couch. So Dean ain't worked in a while. Dean gonna take that money and buy some crypto with it. Dean needs the 50. That's what Dean is on.
Scott Jennings, sir, it's for play, sir. It's for play. He's an honorary ICE agent. Okay. Folks online would, roast him over this when this ex-poster talking how out of shape he is for the job. I'm sorry, man. Dean, you did it to yourself, sir. Okay. This got another one on this posted reference his racist character on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Yes, he was on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and he played a racist. Very popular episode. Yeah. Okay, David. So here's the thing, man. Brother, we are definitely in the twilight zone. We may be worse than that. I don't know.
So Dean Cain was a terrible actor, terrible. That's why he had a very short TV career. He was the worst of all the people who ever played Superman. I think George Reeves would do a better job playing Superman today, and George Reeves is dead. And Dean Cain, remember, his original name was Tanaka. That was his parents. Right. He's of Japanese ancestry. And he has spoken about how some of his grandparents were in Japanese internment camps in the United States. He is totally now betraying his own culture, his own history. He has obviously learned the wrong lesson about Superman. Superman was also a migrant to this country. That was the analogy. Superman was originally created by two Jewish guys to talk about immigration. And now Dean Cain wants to be on the side of the conquerors. He wants to be on the side of ripping people off of the street, of throwing people out with due process. He is a humiliation. And look, I get worked out because when guys like him or Chachi use whatever little notoriety they have to perpetuate things that are terrible, it really makes me infuriated. This guy is a loser, he's a nobody, and he's trying to take a little bit of fame that he got from Fox News in order to make our society worse. It's despicable.
Yeah, all of that. Thank you, dear brother, for all you do. Tell people how they can follow you, check out your great work.
When I'm not getting so worked up about Dean Cain, you can find me on Rebel HQ, which is our YouTube and Facebook channel. We do a lot of videos about culture, politics, race relations, policing, the whole bit. But it's always a highlight, Dr. Richie, to be on with you and Jordan and everybody else who's part of the team. So thanks for having me.
Man, it's a pleasure to have you, brother. Thank you for all your leadership and continue fighting that great fight you do, man. Thank you. All right, remember, take care of yourself, take care of each other. Take care of the planet. Remember, the truth is always indisputable.